You took a step away, right? I'm just gonna take a little quote out of your newsletter. I'm gonna read it to you, and you explain it to me a little bit. It says here, the most important step is to take, as always, the first one. You must stop letting society, friends, and family dictate your actions. How, in a world where people naturally group together into tribes and never defer, can we find strength and courage to pave our own path?
Yeah, I guess when I was writing that, I was really thinking about the path that I've taken and the way that I see people forced down a singular path by their environment. And I think it's not always easy to tell people or to advise people to make their own path, because life is extremely difficult. Like, you might have certain financial or family obligations that you feel like you need to tend to. But at the end of the day, there's going to come a point when you need to do your own thing, and you need to listen to that voice inside of you that's telling you, this is what you need to do. I think that everyone has their own calling, their own purpose in life, and what it is that they're meant to do. And that might not be the same for everyone. And it might not be you might not be destined to be rich and famous and be a streamer or be a podcaster or whatever. You might be the best, I don't know, basketball player or lawyer or whatever it is. Or it might be something simple, like you might just be destined to live a life of quiet peacefulness. And I think people today, no one really wants that anymore. I don't think anyone is excited to have a life where they're just doing the simple things, enjoying their friends, enjoying their life, and finding purpose through that. And I guess what I wanted to say in that quote is that you need to follow whatever it is that's giving you that feeling of purpose and peace. It might not be something super exciting, or it might be something super exciting. It might be like for you starting this podcast or starting your own business, or doing something like that. But I think, as you know, your family always has an idea on what you should do. Your friends might have an idea on what you should do. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, is even if they're not telling you specifically, don't do what you're doing, there's a lot of even subconscious signals that they send that, I'm not really happy with what you're doing. For example, if you become more confident or go through a big change internally, it changes your relationships, because the power dynamics and everything like that are simply different. And I'm sure that's something you've experienced before, which is like with your family, when you change, it's just different, because it's not the same. You're an adult now. You make your own decisions. And so the dynamics between your family start to change. And this is slightly off topic, but it's something I've been dealing with a lot recently, is the sense of loss that comes when you don't have that same connection because you've grown. You know, because I've changed and I'm interested in doing different things now, we don't have that same connection that we used to, where we were just on the same wavelength. We don't have that shared reality. And that's something I've been dealing with a lot recently. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Lovely. Yeah, there's one thing that we'll move into that relates to that I really want to get to. But before that, just emphasizing the part of like the social exclusion that sometimes we have to accept in accepting ourselves, which is the hard part.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know in my experiences, but I was going to ask you, how have you dealt with that?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think everyone, you sort of go through a phase, and I certainly went through that, where you have to find new friends. Like, you have to be willing to be completely alone, or not completely alone. You still have your family if you're blessed to have family, but you have to go through a period where you're okay with being alone and not having no one understand what it is that you're doing. And then on that path, then you'll find people that, that resonate with what it is that you're trying to do. And you'll find new friends and you'll find a new community. But there is certainly a period in your life, and I mean, I'm sure it goes through different phases of having more friends, less friends, being more social, less social. But I think everyone has to be okay with being alone and not having people understand what it is that they're doing. And I think furthermore, I think that the extent to which you can do that, the extent to which you can be alone, have no one understand what it is that you're doing, and still be able to say, I'm doing what I should be doing, and not have that confidence go away, I think that's really a big indicator of your success and what it is that you're going to be able to do in your life. Because if you're always looking for outside approval, making sure that everyone around you is okay with what you're doing, you're just not going to have the same focus and energy and drive that you might have if you were more committed and more intentional about what it is that you're doing. And I think you wanted to touch more on the exclusion, yeah, the social exclusion, in that a lot of people don't really want to see you succeed. They might be like, oh, it's nice that you're doing this, but they're not going to go out of their way to support you, most people. And people have their own stuff going on. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people will say, oh, that's so cool that you're doing that. But they're a little bit scared if you really might succeed. I think it's a great skill and a big indicator of the type of person you are. If you can have your friend do better than you and be just purely happy for them. Like, for example, if you got like 1 million subscribers tomorrow, I would only be happy, because you're my good friend, and I want nothing but the best for you. And I think a lot of people are intimidated by success, and they feel that there's only like a certain amount of success, and if they're not getting it, and someone else is getting it, then they're taking away from them. But ultimately, that's not the case. If you're intimidated by someone else's success, or you're trying to stop them from succeeding or not help them, then that's only an indication that you're insecure in what it is that you're doing. I think that helping other people and shouting other people out, and not whatever gatekeeping or stuff like that, it's an essential part of building community, because ultimately it's not about you. It's about helping everyone and trying to build something for everyone. And that sort of mindset that it's not about me, it's about what I'm doing. It's about the work first and being purpose-led. That's what makes the difference in the people that are really successful. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I think you hit everything there pretty much. So amazing. For those who maybe are a little bit afraid of making that leap, they're at that point where they might even listen to what you just said, and they say, I love hearing you say it, and that gives me so much confidence, right? But they just can't make that first step. Mm-hmm. That first step to say, it's okay to be alone and it's okay to follow my own path. Do you have just a couple words like you could just say to them?
Just do something. It doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
It could be a random idea. You could just write a poem in your book, whatever. Literally do whatever you want to do that interests you. And it doesn't have to be big. You don't have to proclaim to everyone, hey, I'm doing this cool thing. Don't do it for anyone else but yourself, and then slowly see where that goes. So, for me, it started with journaling, and I was like, wow, I love journaling. And then I started writing, and it just became a passion of mine. And I didn't do it because I wanted to be a writer, and I'm not a writer, I like to write, but I'm not a writer by any stretch of the imagination. But you're not going to be able to fake that purpose, that drive, that say, I like writing, I love writing. For you, I love podcasting, I love talking to people. You have to be authentic when it comes down to it, or else it's just not going to work. So what I would say is just turn off social media for whatever, one day or whatever. Just spend a little bit of time alone with your thoughts. Write down what it is that's coming up, and just pursue one thing to the first degree. Just take the first step, and you'll be amazed at what happens. And then the next day, take the next step if you're feeling ready. And it's not always going to be perfect. It's not going to be like you look for something and you decide to start writing or journaling, and you find that it's cool, and that means that that's going to be what you do. For me especially, I've gone through different phases of like, oh, I think this is what I want to do, and then you try it, and you really put the effort in, and you realize maybe it's not for me. So it's not like it's going to be you find the one thing, at least for most people, you find the one thing and that's what you do for the rest of your life. It's always a process of trial and error of seeing, oh, this is what I really like, this is what I don't like. And furthermore, it changes over time because you change. And so your interests will change and the people around you will change and your circumstances will change.